Welcome to Rise Above Performance Training's 15 Minutes of Strength, the show where we explore and discuss the vast landscape of strength to help us all live our best and strongest lives. I'm your host, Doug Fiorinelli, and this is episode 13, How to Train as an Aging Athlete. Well, this is my 13th episode, and I'm recording it on September 13th, 2022 here. So I'm really pushing the envelope. I know 13 is apparently an unlucky number. I don't know podcast etiquette if you're supposed to skip the 13th episode and go straight to 14th like the hotel elevator. But we're going to, play it unsafe and go for it. Anyway, what I'm going to do today is read a subscriber's email. And yes, you can email me and I will do my best to answer your questions, and maybe we'll make it on a podcast because that helps me out and it's kind of fun. I get to reach out to the people that subscribe to my newsletter and, see what they have going on in their lives and what I can help them out with. This email is about the aging athlete. So let me read this and we will get going here. So formalities out of the way. I hope you're doing well, blah, blah, blah. Ask you a question. Of course you can ask me a question. I'm now 51 years old and I have not worked out consistently in quite a few years. I'm still active and play in a basketball league, softball league, and a baseball league. Well, I'd say that's pretty much working out consistently, but what he probably means is he's not doing the gym work. So anyway, I'd like to know what would be the best approach that I should take as far as working out. What are your suggestions as far as training over 50? I don't know if I should be lifting heavy or doing circuit training, how often to lift, and how to approach cardio. I would like to add mobility training, but I don't know how to or what to do. I've recently started working on changing my eating habits since I would like to lose weight also. It is confusing because I read on training at over 50 that there are many different thoughts. Some say only do compound lifts and others say to do bodybuilding style program. As far as cardio, some say to do long, steady cardio and others say do short, intense bouts of cardio. I figured I'd reach out to you and ask for your advice since I've always found your advice helpful. Okay, a lot to unpack there. First of all, awesome job. Over 50, I'm sure you're probably very busy with family and work and other commitments, but you're able to play three, I would consider, pretty high intensity sports, basketball, softball, and baseball. Those aren't easy sports. So congrats on that. Now, adding training into your programming, I think, is a great idea. We want to maintain as much strength. There are a bunch of studies out there saying that losing strength is one of the key factors to your health going south. When we can't lift ourselves up or walk, granted you are far away from that, but you want to maintain that because as the older you get, it's harder to get that back if you lose it. So yes, I think adding some of those things is great. Adding mobility is a great idea too. As kids, myself included, we get away with just playing our sports and not necessarily stretching as much as we should because we don't feel like we need it. But as we get a little bit older, 30s, 40s, 50s, we realize our bodies don't move as well as we used to. And, starting to add that in has a lot of benefits, but we're a little bit behind the curve. So starting earlier obviously is a little bit better. And, eating well is key. I would say as we get older, we probably don't need eat as much as we used to unless you're, really competitive triathlete or someone who's burning a ton of calories. We could all probably eat a little bit less and benefit from that. Myself included, I struggle with that as well because I enjoy eating, and especially when I go home and see my mom, she cooks very well. So let's unpack this. You're playing these leagues. I don't know if we're playing them simultaneously. So let's say we're playing 2 leagues a week. So that's 2 days out of the equation. Let's say we want to be active 6 days a week. Now, as we age, things get a little bit more difficult. We can't be in the gym for a long period of time for several reasons. One is just a timing thing. I'm going to assume you have a family. I'm going to assume you have a good job that you need to perform well and maintain well, whether you get up to work early or work extra hours. The student life is actually a little more conducive to training a lot longer and being in the gym a lot longer. So time is going to be a little bit a constraint. So let's say we are going to work out for 45 minutes. Okay, great. Now, how I would construct a plan, I don't think there's really a better right or wrong in terms of, let's say you said heavy weights or bodybuilding style or compound lifts. I would say go by how you feel, whether that is what's working for you in that moment. It could be something that's working for you for a long period of time. So let's say a compound lift is going to be, big movements like a clean and press, or I don't know, a thruster where you squat to press, or Olympic lifting. Or you can do, bodybuilding type things, which is going to be more of a body part workout where you're going to work out, let's say 1 to 2 body parts per workout. I do like those workouts. Generally speaking, I stay away from bodybuilding type workouts for several reasons in regarding this. One, a bodybuilding style program, like I said, is very focused on 1 to 2 body parts where you're doing a lot of sets hitting the same muscles or muscle groups. So let's say it's back and arm day. You're going to do, let's say pull-ups, and then you're going to do rows, and then you're going to do maybe one other one. You're going to do lat pull downs, but then you're going to do your arms. Did I say arms? Hopefully I said arms. So you do some bicep curls, triceps. So you're doing all this volume. One, it's a lot of time in the gym. You can do it in 45 minutes, but it is a lot of time in the gym. Two, if you're a busy person, missing a day. So let's say I missed leg day. You're going to miss a day. It's going to throw everything off. And then 3, these volume types of workouts targeting specific muscle groups tend to make people more sore, just because of the pure volume and stress you're putting on those particular muscles. They take longer to recover. Because you are playing other sports, it might be a burden on those sports. If you can't lift your arm to shoot the basketball properly, it might be a problem if you did a lot of bodybuilding type work. Now, if you were a bodybuilder or just wanted to go for physique, yes, this is the type of program you'd probably want to do. So I would say stay away from the bodybuilding style. It is mostly the programming style and not the exercises. So yes, you can do bicep curls and triceps. You're just not going to do a lot of volume. Again, volume brings soreness, which tends to prolong recovery. And as we age, recovery is harder for several reasons. One, just because we're older, and 2, we probably, have more stress and more things to do on our plate. So we don't sleep as much and we have more things to do, even manual labor jobs. So we're not recovering as much. So again, let's stay away from bodybuilding. 2, you mentioned mobility. Mobility is something you can throw in daily. It can be a few exercises. It can be 5 minutes. It can be a warm up to your workout. So generally I do a little bit of mobility when I get out of bed, and it's mostly going to be a little bit of downward dog with some slight movement. And then it's going to be, I do a little bit of a cobra where I shift around a little bit. And then I do a squat just to open up my hips, or some hip kind of pumps where I'm kneeling down in like a frog pose, and then I'm moving back and forth to get my hips primed. I'll do that twice. It usually takes about 3 minutes when I wake up, and that just gets me going. My hips and things are not moving very well as they used to in the morning, so I like to get those going. And then I tend to do a little bit of mobility right before my workout for the day. So adding mobility is great, and the way to do that is a little bit early morning, or a little bit at the end of night before you go to sleep so you can wake up refreshed, or right before the workouts. I say mobility, be frequent with it and not long. So what I mean by that is do it almost daily, and then do it for only like 5 to 10 minutes. That way you can get it in, you're consistent with it, and it's not taking a bulk of your time away from other things like your workouts. Good resources for mobility are GMB, Gold Medal Bodies. I really like their stuff. They have a lot of free things on YouTube and on their website. I've also paid for some of their programs, which are not ridiculously expensive, They have a nice platform on their site where you can watch videos and do the tutorials and follow along, or just, kind of keep them for reference in the back of your mind. There is a book and a website as well called Original Strength, which is more the foundational movements. They call them the primal kind of movements that children and babies do, that we try to get back to. And they sound silly, but when you do them, like a lot of the rocking, a lot of the head movements, they really tap into that primal movement patterns and the things that we lose over time. So adding some of those in before you work out are great. Now, whether circuit training or compound movements, it's kind of up to you. I like to mix it up personally. I kind of go in the week with a plan. I want to do, 3 or 4 weight training sessions. One day is going to be a little bit of body weight. One day will be a little bit more heavyweight, like let's say compound movements. Like you said, it's going to be like bigger movements where I'm going to do some kettlebell cleans and presses or some thrusters or clean and lunges. I'll do some of those. And then maybe some days I'll do a little bit, let's say heavier for what it is. I'll do some deadlifts or squats. They're definitely not as heavy as I used to go. And it's just about right. I'm personally not chasing heavy goals. Again, these are not my specific goals. If you are competing in a powerlifting competition, yes, you're going to chase numbers. You do not need to chase numbers as you get older. Maintain a level of strength where you feel comfortable moving your body and moving things that you need to move in your daily life. Like if you have a very labor intensive lifestyle where you're gardening and things like that, need to pick up planter boxes, you should be strong enough to pick up those planter boxes without hurting your back or your legs. So, make it appropriate to what you want to do. Softball and baseball and basketball require a lot of leg, a lot of stop and go. So you're still going to want to train that. So that way you don't pull a hamstring. I have seen so many people start a rec softball league, get up to bat, hit their first hit and try to sprint. So, going to first base is when you hit the ball, unless you're jacking it out of the stadium, is going to be an all out sprint. And if you're not used to all out sprinting, I almost guarantee you're going to pull a hamstring. So you have to train for what you're going to face. Now, if you're going to do that, you play those games and want to play them at a relatively high level, then yes, you got to train those things. So think about making things sports specific, like what is going to help you do those recreational things that you like to do. So don't avoid single leg exercises. Do not avoid, even a little bit of a track day where you're running a little bit. Stick with those things. So again, lay out your workouts. It doesn't have to be set in stone, but let's say, okay, I'm going to do mobility every day for 6 days a week. I'm going to do, alternating days between my recreational games. I might do mobility in the morning, then I'll play a game at night. And then the other day I'll do my mobility in the morning and then weight train or do some type of cardio. You mentioned cardio. So lastly, cardio would be almost anything. I mean, I would say definitely do some. I don't think, again, go by how your body feels. You don't need to run, a lot of miles. You can do cardio with kettlebell swings. Again, make it more sports specific or kind of what you want to do. If you want to hike 10 miles for a trip, you're going to have to train for that. You're going to have to hike on the weekends and hike, 4 miles or 5 miles or 6 miles so you can get that 10-mile hiking on vacation. If you're going to play basketball, you're going to have to do jump rope, kettlebell swings, even some track sprints. So you're training specifically for that. So again, let's break this all down. This is what I would do if I was in your position. 1, I would break down my days. So let's say I'm playing 3 days a week, and then I would break down my workout. So every other day, I'm going to play and then weight train. I'm going to do mobility daily. My weight training, so let's say I do 3 days a week of weight training. One of the days will be maybe a little bit of body weight stuff or lunges or, something single leg, not too difficult. Maybe I'll have a heavier day where I'll go in and do either deadlift or squat, even some bench press, pull-ups, bigger movements, but I'll keep it under that around that 45-minute threshold. And then day 3 will be maybe some type of circuit training. So I'll put a couple exercises together. It doesn't have to be for time necessarily, but like today, what I did, I grabbed the Bulgarian bag and did I just came up with 5 exercises that came off the top of my head, and I did those 5 exercises. And I said, okay, I'm going to do 10 squats, 10 swings, 10 rotations, and 10 push-ups. And then I'm going to do that 3 times. And then that's going to be my cardio. So that's going to be that. And then maybe one day a week, I will do a little bit of running or hiking or something to keep my fitness up, but also help me with my sports. And then as I go along, I'm just going to think about my eating. Slowly make changes with your eating. I wouldn't go too dramatic. I don't know, you didn't give me too many specifics on your eating habits, but generally eating a little bit less, maybe taking out some things like if you're eating a lot of sugar or stuff like that, maybe you can just start by just reeling that in a little bit. And then making your eating very activity dependent. If you're very active, have a little bit more carbohydrates. If you are not, maybe bring it back a little bit and dial it in for that day and say, you know what, wasn't really active. I kind of didn't sleep well. I'm just going to go a little bit less on the calories and just keep it very activity dependent. So if you do this can prolong your life and also kind of prolong your activity. Again, even though we're at that middle age, think about it still as a journey through the end of life. You're going to keep this mindset and programming going for the rest of your life. Yes, you will make some changes as we get older. Once you reach the next decade and the next decade, you might have to switch things around. You're probably not going to play basketball as much, let's say. So you may have to play softball, and you might take up golf or, bocce ball or something like that. So you're going to change your activity dependent things, but you're still going to keep the essence of it. You're still going to keep your cardio up. You're still going to keep your weight training up. You may have to focus more on body weight things than the deadlifts. But this is a long-term commitment to fitness for the rest of your life. So think of it that way, and you don't have to sweat the small daily details, whether you're doing the right workout or the wrong workout. So keep that in mind, and you should be okay. So I want to thank you for your question. Again, if you guys have questions, reach out to me at doug@riseabovestrength.com. Check out the website, riseabovestrength.com. You can see all the videos, all the blog posts, all of these podcasts as well. So again, I want to thank you for listening and checking everything out. Feel free to reach out anytime. And again, remember, all the strength you need is on the inside and reinforced by the outside. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.